Blowout, Seattle or New England?
So, I think we are going to get a very good Super Bowl.
Oh, good.
I do not think this is going to be reminiscent, as you were talking about earlier, Brew, of the Super Bowls when you were getting into media and when I was a little kid.
Yep.
And they were all just,
Routes.
it was shocking when you got a good Super Bowl.
Right.
And then because we've had, I understand last year the Chiefs got blown out, but we have been, that game notwithstanding, on a run of great Super Bowls. And
The Bucs
so
and
we've
the
gotten used
Chiefs,
to it.
they got
I
blown out
think
twice.
that is what we are likely going to get, a close, tightly contested game. But if you are telling me that the story the Monday after the Super Bowl is someone got blown out, I think it's pretty clear it would be the Patriots that got blown out. I don't think Seattle can get blown out. Seattle this year has lost 3 times. Same as the Patriots, by the way. It's not like the Patriots have been blown out.
Yeah.
But it's talking about Seattle.
Yep.
2 of those losses, they led at the 2-minute warning of the game. And the other one, they lost by 2, despite Darnold throwing 4 interceptions. The Seahawks, to me, don't have a way that you are going to make them fall apart or crumble. And especially because we have seen, well, what if you lean on Darnold and force him into a terrible game? They've sustained that. They've sustained that against not a bad team, in my opinion, a great team in the Rams.
Yeah.
And listen, I think Vrabel is such a great coach. I also don't think the Pats are likely, even if they make some mistakes, to get blown out. But if they get the type of performance from May that they have gotten in various games this postseason or in stretches of games, that can lead to a blowout.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Although I don't want to put it on Drake May, like getting a performance out of Drake May, like Drake May is doing something fundamentally wrong or like he's the problem. But just that performance of the offense, if that Seahawks defense does that, then a blowout is absolutely on the table. The only way that I see the Patriots blowing out the Seahawks is if Sam Darnold just absolutely lays an egg. Like, it's just one of those games where we were like, wow. You know, like, the show has opened up on Monday where it's like, surprised that Sam went full pumpkin, you know, is Sam's doubters back to being, you know, not silenced or whatever, right? Where people are just like, wow, Sam Darnold really was seeing ghosts, or like, wow, I guess that is a thing that Sam Darnold just always has lingering over his shoulder. He just is always capable of playing terrible and crumbling, right? Like that. Like, yeah, his ceiling is really high, but yeah, his floor is really like, it just redefines as the conversation that we're having around Sam Darnold, but I just don't see it. And again, this Seahawks defense is so elite. It really is. Now, I am a massive believer in the Patriots and Drake May, right? I've said that as many times as I possibly can, and this is where I'm just really excited. I'm excited to see the Seahawks defense go up against Drake May, because interestingly enough, the offenses that they've struggled with the Seahawks was really Stafford and the Rams more than anything, and that's dealing with Puka and Stafford and McVay, etc. And Drake May is a different style quarterback, use his legs. He can kind of beat you there. And I'm just curious to see how the Seahawks handle that aspect of it, and the Patriots defense, quite frankly. Now, I am not downplaying who they've played. I'm not downplaying that. I've bashed that narrative all season long, especially when it was targeted towards Drake May. But the reality is we haven't really seen the defense need to or have the opportunity to legitimately slow down great offenses. The closest we got to that was the Buffalo Bills. I mean, really, because it was not in the playoffs at all. I understand all the turnovers that they forced with Herbert and CJ. Let's not delude ourselves in pretending like these are some high-powered offenses. They're just not. Especially considering the circumstances with CJ just turning the ball over, like, you know, turning into a pumpkin. Justin Herbert having no O-line and then going up against Jared Stidham in a snowstorm. So, honestly, all 3 of those games mean nothing to me in terms of evaluating the Patriots defense. And then you are going up against Justin Fields and, whoever I'll say it was really a whole mixed bag of of coaches and quarterbacks, and lots of quarterbacks getting benched or coaches getting fired. And again, I still believe the Steelers defense, or excuse me, the Patriots defense is great and all of that. So like, I'm not downplaying their defense either. I'm truly not. I'm truly not. But I've seen the Seahawks answer that call more times than I've seen the Patriots, just because of how the schedule unfolded and the teams that they had to beat and play against in the playoffs, whether it's against the Rams, whether it was against the 49ers, had to play both those teams multiple times, obviously, like before all the injuries. They held the 49ers to 17 points. They held the Steelers to 17, the Saints to 13. Cardinals, that was a Kyler Murray game. If memory serves me correctly, that was like a Thursday Kyler Murray game. This Bucs game got crazy. That was the only other time that I really saw the Seahawks play. They played, they had injuries, nobody could tackle. They had a bad trick play that I was either scoop and scored for a touchdown or just gave them an easy possession. Like, that game was kind of crazy. Completely swallowed up the Jags, completely swallowed up the Texans, completely swallowed up the Commanders. And at that point, I'm pretty sure this was Jacoby Brissett for the Cardinals. The Rams, even though Sam Darnold had 4 turnovers, still held them to only 21 points. Vikings 0, which, again, was that JJ McCarthy? I don't even remember. Falcons dominated the Colts. Again, at this point, I'm trying, oh, yeah. And that was against Phillip Rivers at that point. So, take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I'm not trying to pretend that the Seahawks took down Stafford, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe B, right? I'm not trying to act like it was nothing but juggernauts either, but I just feel as though we've been able to see their defense elevate, especially in meaningful moments, in a way that I'm not so sure we've gotten the real opportunity with the Patriots. I mean, loss of Geno Smith and the Raiders, which is week 1, whatever, gave up 27 to the Dolphins. Lost to the Steelers, gave up 21. Panthers 13, the Bills 20, which again, that to me was probably the best game in terms of defensive of what you did against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. But as we've seen, they've been inconsistent all season long, and then it is kind of a ragtag group here. Going up against the Browns, the Jets, the Giants, the Bengals. Was that Joe Flacco or Joe Burrow? Pretty sure it was Joe Flacco. Then gave up 35 to the Bills. To the Ravens, that was with Tyler Huntley, I believe, right? Yeah. I think it was Tyler Huntley, or was that the game that Lamar got injured? No, it was Tyler Huntley. Yeah, they both got injured in that game. So yeah, again, this is not meant, this is to discredit the Patriots or undervalue what the Patriots are. It's just, I've seen the Seahawks defense be truly suffocating and truly elite in a way that you feel it in your bones, that I've not seen from the Patriots in the moments that we believe we've seen them, especially in the playoffs. The Seahawks offense is just light years ahead of what the Chargers got going on and what the Texans got going on. And we'll just leave the Broncos game to the side, because that doesn't matter. It's just not even close. It's just not even close. So that's just where the confidence comes from, the Seattle Seahawks. And I really think the Seahawks only lose. I think there's 2 situations where the Seahawks lose this game. Only 2. 1, like I said, Sam Darnold turns into an absolute pumpkin. And the whole time I'm watching that game, I'm thinking to myself, oh gosh, how do I have to spin? How do I spin this? How do I save face? I've been doing a lot of victory laps about Sam Darnold. How do I save face with this? What do I gotta say? Well, the one interception wasn't really his fault, because it was, like, if it's that type of game, then it's like, and the other game is, and again, I think Drake May is amazing. I think Drake May is going to be elite. I think Drake May is going to be special. I think Drake May will be a bone-aff. I think Drake May will be, in that same category that we have currently right now with Lamar Allen, Mahomes, where we're like automatically, look, well, we know Drake's top, like that's this solidified. I think that Drake May will be in that conversation, for sure. But if Drake May like really unleashes where we watch him in the Super Bowl and we're like, that guy is the literal truth. Like, he absolutely erupts, and we're just like, there's truly nothing that this quarterback can't do. Snorts. And the reality is like, that's pretty unlikely, actually, no matter how great you are. We didn't even see Patrick Mahomes in 2019 in the Super Bowl do that. We didn't see that. He threw 2 interceptions and had like a passer rating of like 78 or something. But yeah, that wasn't Patrick Mahomes' first Super Bowl performance. Not at all. And then in 2020, got rocked. And then in 2021, missed the Super Bowl. Both quarterbacks in their first Super Bowls, Joe Burrow and Stafford, played well, had great moments, but they didn't like, they didn't. I think Stafford had multiple turnovers, or at the very least one. Had a nice, like, no press, but he wasn't even the MVP. And Joe Burrow played good, but again, hardly anything anything like insane. Realistically, the best quarterback who had the best first Super Bowl in this immediate time frame, right? I'm not going back to like Brett Favre or something. Like, I'm just talking about in this immediate was actually technically Jalen Hurts, and he lost, and he had a turnover that ended up having huge repercussions, but he had, set multiple records, set the rushing record as well through for over 300 yards, had like 3 total touchdowns, or, whatever the number was. He had an unbelievable game, but he still had a turnover that still ended up having, pretty strong consequences. And then in 23, Brock Purdy's first Super Bowl again wasn't bad, but obviously wasn't earth-shattering. Neither was Mahomes' game either. And then we're up to 2024. So, like, we rarely see a quarterback, no matter how great they are, no matter how special they are, just perform in their first Super Bowl and just ball and just do things that were just like, wow, did you see that? The closest we actually got to that was honestly Jalen Hurts in 22. And yet he still lost and still got tagged for that fumble. That was a scoop and score touchdown. But that gave everyone a lot of momentum to believe that Jalen Hurts, people forget because they changed the way they viewed him so quickly. But they were like, this guy's the truth. Like, this guy's the real deal. And then 23 happened. They're like, I don't know, is he? And then 24 happened. And they're like, I don't know, is he? And then he won the Super Bowl. And they're like, well, maybe he's just a great big game perform, Then the conversation just kept getting more and more twisted. But, and so again, that's obviously all on the table. It's absolutely on the table for Drake May to have that type of performance. It's just unlikely to do it, not only in the Super Bowl, especially your first ever Super Bowl, especially at that age, and especially against an elite defense. So I just think those are all things to factor in when trying to have this conversation. And to be clear, and I'll end here, these types of conversations are meant to kind of back us into a corner. I think fans sometimes get really upset with these types of questions. And when you're talking about especially the same game and the same team, the same 2 teams for 2 weeks, you have to just all agree to just back yourself in a corner with these types of conversations and force yourself to kind of answer them. Because for me, my default is always kind of like, I don't want to answer this question, or like, this doesn't mean anything to me, there's that. But it's just like, it's honestly just for the sake of like interesting conversation. I mean, it really is. It's the more modern era of like, who would win in a fight, Superman or Thanos? Like, that's what we're essentially doing here in this type of situation. And so you either enjoy the conversation, have fun with it, or you bash it and say, this is stupid, this is dumb, how dare you doubt what the Patriots can do? So it's like, it's not the conversation. That's not what's actually happening here. So I'll just give that disclaimer, but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Patriots? What team do you think is more likely to win in a blowout? And if you do see a blowout in either direction from either team, how do you think it unfolds? Let me know the why. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, so if you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. T.